Curse and Revenge of the Jinn, True Horror Story. The beginning of the curse, Ayşe was a young woman living in a small Anatolian town. Everyone in the town knew her as a kind-hearted and helpful person. However, one day, curiosity led her to explore an old mansion on the outskirts of the town. The mansion's door was rusty and heavy, but somehow Ayşe found herself pushing it open. Inside, dust and cobwebs covered everything. The air smelled of times long past. As she wandered from room to room, she found an old diary. Its pages were yellowed and filled with scribbles. When she opened the diary, she discovered writings that described dark rituals and long-hidden family secrets. Each line made Ayşe's skin crawl and her heart race. The moment she held the diary, a shadow moved in the corner of the room. At first, she thought it was her imagination, but as the shadow drew closer, she realized she was not alone. That night, Ayşe's dreams turned into nightmares. Mirrors reflected different faces back at her, and the shadows in her room seemed alive. Whispers buzzed in her ears, warning her that the family's old revenge was about to begin again. She woke up in terror, but even the morning sunlight could not bring her peace. The lines from the diary lingered in her mind, as if they were speaking directly to her. In Ayşe's town, there was an old legend. Years ago, a malevolent family had been cursed because of injustice and jealousy. Every member of the family had met horrific deaths, and the curse had become part of the town's dark history. Unknowingly, Ayşe had drawn herself to the very center of this curse. As days passed, Ayşe's life began to change. People looked at her strangely, and some avoided talking to her. She constantly heard strange noises in her home and felt the shadows in her room moving at midnight. Ayşe began to understand that what she was experiencing was not just her imagination. One line in the diary seemed to challenge her. Do not ignore the past, or revenge will find you. Ayşe did not know what to do to break the curse. An elderly woman in the town noticed Ayşe's unease and offered to help. The woman knew about old rituals and how spirits worked. In her desperation, Ayşe listened to her and realized that her life was about to take an irreversible path. Ayşe decided to return to the old mansion under the guidance of the elderly woman. This time she carried candles, incense, and talismans given to her by the woman. As she stepped into the mansion, every corner seemed darker than the last. The air had grown even heavier. As she wandered from room to room, she noticed darkened handprints and scratches on the walls. It was as if those who once lived there had taken their last breaths in pain. When she picked up the diary, one line caught her eye. Spirits recognize not only innocent souls, but also the guilty ones from the past. You cannot escape them. Ayşe shivered. At that moment, a shadow appeared in the corner of the room and slid along the walls with rapid movements. Ayşe held her breath. She could feel the presence of the spirit. Its eyes glowed like red flames, shifting shapes in the dark room. That night, Ayşe saw the old family members in her dreams. A bloody scene of revenge watched her. The shadows disturbed her without distinguishing between the innocent and the guilty. Sleepless nights and nightmares gnawed at Ayşe's mind, making her feel lost between reality and imagination. Ayşe realized she was no longer alone in the town. People behaved strangely. Some avoided her gaze, while others warned her directly. An elderly neighbor said, "You are inside the curse, Ayşe. Be careful." Determined to understand, Ayşe began researching the town's past. In old records, she found horrifying information about the family who had once owned the mansion. A family cursed by spirits, returning for revenge. These revelations partially explained the source of the fear surrounding her. Yet, she also had to accept that her life had now taken an irreversible path. It was no longer only Ayşe in danger. Those around her were also at risk. The curse had begun to spread to everyone. The power of the curse. Ayşe entered the mansion again, armed with the talismans and rituals given to her by the elderly woman. She immediately noticed that the house was far darker and quieter than her previous visit. Sunlight no longer reached the rooms, and every corner seemed to exist in its own darkness. Her heart raced, her breath became uneven, and the diary trembled in her hands as if it were alive, its pages flipping open on their own. A dark shadow appeared in the corner of the room. This time, Ayşe felt she was no longer alone. The spirit now followed her directly, its influence growing stronger by the minute. Shadows danced across the walls, and whispers echoed through the room. Face the past, or revenge will find you. Ayşe's dreams had become even more vivid and terrifying. In one dream, she witnessed a murder that had taken place long ago in the town. A family had suffered because of injustice and jealousy, cursed by spirits. She saw every detail with her own eyes. Bloodstains, terrified gazes, souls writhing in pain. When she awoke, a shadow moved in her room, blurring the line between dream and reality. Ayşe knew she was no longer alone in the town. People behaved strangely. They either warned her or fled in fear. When she visited an old friend, her friend trembled and said, "Ayşe, you have drawn this curse upon yourself. Are you ready to see more?" Desperate, Ayşe began researching the town's old archives. The names and dates in the diary matched the town's historical records. The cursed family of the mansion had, because of past injustices, sent a curse upon the entire town. The curse was no longer confined to the mansion. It was spreading across the town. One night, a terrifying event occurred in Ayşe's room. Every mirror shattered. Dark smoke appeared in the center of the room, and the spirit, its eyes burning like red flames, stood before her. The spirit whispered, "You are the bearer of this curse. If you do not uncover the sins of the past, revenge will claim not only your life, but also those of your loved ones." Ayşe was shaken by the spirit's words. This time it was not only fear weighing on her shoulders, but also responsibility. She had to summon her courage to break the curse. Using the old ritual books given by the medium, she began investigating the dark secrets of the family. Every line of the rituals tested her physically and spiritually. Her eyes burned, her body exhausted, but she could not stop. Ayşe visited the graves of the family members and the locations of past horrific events. With each step, the spirit's power became more palpable. At night, when she was alone in her room, shadows emerged from the walls and whispers rang in her ears. Despite the fear, Ayşe remained determined. One night, Ayşe saw the cursed family's revenge directly in a dream. Their spirits roamed above the town, driven by righteous anger, punishing the guilty. Upon waking, strange occurrences began in the town. People's homes were mysteriously damaged. Whispers echoed through the streets, and animals fled in panic. Ayşe realized that the curse was no longer only about her. The entire town was in danger. Following the medium's advice, Ayşe intensified the rituals. Each ritual soothed the spirit's anger slightly, bringing the curse somewhat under control, but the cost was high. Ayşe's spirit was exhausted, and fear and pain consumed her. She knew that to completely break the curse, she had to bring the dark family's past revenge into the light. Ayşe found herself in the darkest room of the mansion. The diary's darkest secrets and the pages describing the most horrifying rituals were in her hands. The spirit stood before her, impatiently awaiting the moment of revenge. Facing it, Ayşe had only her courage and determination. The peak of the curse and revenge. Ayşe entered the darkest room of the mansion Equipped with the rituals and talismans given to her by the medium, the diary was in her hands, its pages opening on their own to reveal the old family secrets. Each line created a heavy silence in the room, while shadows seemed to move as if watching her. Suddenly, a dark figure appeared, larger and more terrifying than any of the previous shadows. The spirit rose from a dark smoke, its eyes glowing like red flames. Ayşe's heart raced, her breath uneven. The spirit whispered as if testing her. Uncover the secrets of the past, or revenge will claim not only your life, but the lives of the entire town. Summoning all her courage, Ayşe connected with the diary as if it were part of her soul and began reading the dark secrets. The injustices, murders, betrayals, and wrathful spirits of the family were revealed one by one. Each confession weakened the spirit's power slightly, loosening the ties of the curse. Yet in the process, Ayşe lost a part of her own spirit. Fear and pain nearly consumed her completely. The nights of rituals and confrontations tested Ayşe physically and spiritually as she wandered among old photographs, broken mirrors, and lingering shadows in the mansion. She faced the fury of the cursed spirits. The spirit played cruel games, not attacking directly, but forcing her to confront the past, intensifying fear and suspense. At the most terrifying moment, Ayşe discovered the source of the curse. The family's grandfather, years ago, had committed a murder that triggered the curse, destroying an innocent family. The root of this revenge had lasted generations, returning to the town as a curse. Guided by the spirit, Ayşe took the final step to complete the ritual. At the last moment of the ritual, the dark figure seemed as powerful as ever. Shadows leapt across the room. The spirits of the old family screamed in rage, and it felt as if the entire town could not stand. Despite her fear, Ayşe shouted, "I will end this curse," and opened the diary to perform the ancient ritual. Suddenly, everything fell silent. The shadows dissipated, the whispers ceased, and the spirit vanished, saying, "You dared, but you have paid the price." Ayşe remained alone in the room, exhausted and worn. She had lost a part of her soul, yet the curse was broken. When she returned to the town, everything seemed normal. People carried on with their daily lives. The streets were quiet, the houses ordinary. But Ayşe knew the curse was not completely gone. It had merely been put to sleep for now. The price she paid with her soul was a reminder that dark forces would always be near. The fear and experiences within Ayşe had changed and matured her. She no longer possessed her former innocence, nor a completely safe life. Her courage, ability to face darkness, and the price she paid made her both a hero who had broken the curse and a survivor with a wounded soul. Nothing in the town seemed to have changed, but Ayşe continued to feel every shadow, every whisper. The curse had been broken, but the darkness had not vanished entirely.